Dynamite Download.
Dynamite Download, your home for all positive coverage with all elite wrestling.
You guys, positive energy.
This reality, like, it is me. Like,
who let this guy in here?
This is what pro wrestling's supposed to feel like.
I'm saying I have a better record than Kenny Omega and Samoa Joe, and now I'm going to have to wrestle them.
I've never seen someone able to break down, like, wrestling like he does.
I said, Mariah May. She said, who?
Because I'm so driven. And I'm so moved to like what I want to do.
Versus Brian Keith match.
It's awesome. It's so cool. You got like these creepy ass dudes.
Oldest ride, longest line.
I was like deep diving into like cults.
My real story does connect with a lot of people.
I never say never about anything.
Yeah.
Back to do an interview with those guys. You know why? Because they spread positivity about AEW.
Welcome to Dynamite Download.
Welcome to Dynamite Download, as it says on our intro. What's up, everyone? It is your boys, Mindrunner and SPD, breaking things down on episode 132 here at Dynamite Download. How's it going, Mind? Floral's looking good.
Look, it's great, because big guys can pull off Floral. I'm hoping that's going to turn my luck around.
It's the summer of the Floral for you? Is that what we're getting?
Yeah, we're going to get the summer of Floral, perhaps. The summer of awesomeness. And before we get going, I do want to do a quick shout out because one of my today, Deb and I got some new furniture installed, and we had some guys down at Haynes Furniture Delivery. And he noticed my shrine to AEW, and we got talking some mad wrestling. So shout out to 757 Champs channel. DeMar Holloway, check out his channel, subscribe. He's awesome. He's going to be popping in the chat. And dude talks about everything from wrestling. Huge wrestling mark, just like us. Also into comic books. He's into X-Men, all kinds of cool stuff. Check out his channel, subscribe. Big supporter now. He's going to be a new supporter of the show. Welcome to the DDL family. And we had some great discussions about wrestling, and so I'm looking forward to hearing more from him. But yeah,
you never know who you're going to come across of. Like a furniture, you're never going to know what kind of marks you're going to come across. That's why I always carry in my fanny pack stack of Dynamite Download stickers. If I see a mark with an AEW shirt on, I'll pass it along and say, hey, check us out.
He has them. He gave them to his buddy, his coworker. They both got the Dynamite stickers, so they're out there. Look for them. They are out there.
Delivered.
Wow. But that lightened up my otherwise crummy demeanor because shall we go ahead and take a look at it?
Let's dive in. So this is officially end of week, full week one. Yeah,
this is officially as of last night. Time for our Dynamite draft update. And I would be remiss to shout out the top guy, Bobby. 9 points, dude.
Killing it right now. Bobby is, he learned, talking about learning from his second season in the Dynamite Download draft and running with it. He is, running away with an early lead. That is for sure. With our season 3, but I say it every single week, and I'll keep saying it. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And right now, Bobby's on top, and a lot's happening. A lot of matches as we're starting to gear up to Forbidden Door. I'm looking at the roster of FTDs. She's got a lot of champs that are going to be fighting at Forbidden Door. So I think Forbidden Door, she's going to have a heck of a night. That's for sure. With Swerve, Tony, and Mox on her team, that to me pretty much a triple lock on those ones, in my opinion. So that's definitely, but then comes the bingo card. Who's going to get that +3 from the bingo card? You never know. So landscape's going to change once we hit July 1st.
And on top of that, you look at but I just love that the leftovers we gave you got to give it to them for being good sports. The Leftover Taker and Bobby both were good sports about being, and everybody on we called it the collision roster versus the main screens. If you look at how the tables have turned, Courtney,
except your boy SPD,
second place. Now SPD is getting it done, but the former Leftover Taker Brian now in third place, but just a point behind. You see how tremendous this battle could be. And I got to tell you, if it wasn't for the Acclaimed, I would actually be tied with Brent for last place. And Brent was the Leftover Taker. So, hey, kudos where kudos belong. Y'all are crushing it. The king is getting his ass kicked here. So,
right.
Good job, everybody.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. That's for sure.
Big time.
We'll be singing a different tune next week, I'm sure. Could have a new top dog.
Anything can happen. That's what we've learned in this gig. Anything can happen. Do not rest on your laurels.
And a little surprise. I mean, let's take a look at the last night's card and start breaking things down on Dynamite. But a lot of great matches. I was pleasantly surprised that they said they were kicking off the Owen Hart Cup tournament, which big stakes at hand there.
Absolutely.
And
we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, and we'll make our own bold predictions kind of off the cuff here. Mm-hmm. And adding another man to the already wild trios matches that we saw last week, adding more mix into the fold there.
Yep.
MJF returning from injury after 6 months, his first match. And a surprise upset, maybe potentially from that tag match. Maybe not so much a surprise to Mind Runner because he's got the Acclaimed, but a lot of stuff happened last night. And I think it would be good to talk about the way it started the show, the MJF Roosh match. So that one, when this got announced, I was kind of like, I feel like MJF might have been bitten off more than he could chew because as we have said, week in and week out, like how much of big fans we are of Roosh and what he's been doing in his time in AEW and continuing to grow and continue to give us some just absolute physical badass matches. And he puts his opponents through the ringer. I mean, I remember when he about killed Jungle Boy with a move that he pretty much did the same to MJF, and he was putting MJF through the ringer. And got to, as much as he's the scumbag, got to give him props for his return match to be this physical of a match with Roosh. And to be honest, I think Roosh had the upper hand most of the match, and he shined more than MJF.
I agree. And there was a lot of the match, and usually picture in picture is when one person gets their ass beat and then you come back and they get the fired up. Yeah. This, Roosh dominated. And this is another thing I love about matches. And thank you, Bobby, for the compliment you made. I was talking with Nair Robles on the Mission Pro show earlier about the importance of people don't necessarily remember who wins a match, but they remember how the match was. They remember the moments. And what I remember from that match, even though MJF won, was Roosh's dominance for a lot of it and just being brutal. And there were a couple times where, again, MJF is up there with Eddie Kingston on making me think he's truly legit injured. But there were some moments where I thought MJF was done, and Roosh really did a great job of just dominating the match. MJF being his dance partner, it was such a great match to watch. This was one of those matchups when I heard that this was going to be the way they were going. I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense, but it made sense. They built this up to such a rabid feud.
Right.
And of course, we can talk about the aftermath of it too, but both guys shined in the ring. What a great way to kick off the match or the show. What a great way to kick everything off. And you and I called it. Of course, beware the green cord.
Exactly. It wouldn't be a Roosh beatdown without the green cables under the ring.
Would not be
purposely placed because they are not connected to anything, but they're there for him.
And they're only for him. Yeah.
It's like Indiana Jones and his rope. Or it's like Indiana Jones and his whip. He doesn't go anywhere without it. So Roosh has got his green cables that are always under the ring for him.
I love it.
But they came into play, and MJF got a whooping from him. The post-match, what I'm really enjoying is this side of Brian Cage, that he's getting the spotlight that he's getting.
Yes.
Cage was all over the show tonight in multiple different levels, has a title match with Ospreay, and it's awesome. This guy is a scary beast, and he is a leader of the pack that is just a bunch of goons that are out there to get you. And I love it, man. He's doing fantastic. And to get this continuous spotlight where he's at, very welcomed and fun to see. But that being said, one of his goons is going toe to toe with MJF at Forbidden Door. Officially signed for it.
Yep. And I like the addition of Hechicero.
I do too.
Crew.
Fits the vibe.
Yep.
100%.
He fits right in. He did that promo. It was hard to understand him because he's speaking Spanish and wearing a mask. And I took 4 years of Spanish. 4 years of Spanish. That doesn't mean anything really. But I could barely understand what he's saying. And then Toa Leona's like, yeah, he just growls, and it's like, oh, okay, what a scary group of badasses. But it was fantastic, and I want to just double down on what you said about Brian Cage. And Brian Cage, when I think he kind of, that whole thing with Team Taz, and we've talked about it you talked about it with him. The whole thing with Team Taz just didn't quite work out. Didn't really get a chance to really show what Mr. Get His Stuff In was all about. Since he came back, and with the Mogul Embassy, and then now turning on Swerve, and now just this whole Cage of Agony stable, I think he's perfect to lead this group of monsters. And he really is getting a chance, like you said, to really show everybody what he's really about. And I love that about him. I love that he's dialed in, that they're allowing to they're showing what kind of wrestler he is, and I just think I thumbs up to booking, thumbs up with everything. I love that we're getting to see Brian Cage shine as a competitor, like we wanted him to be, years ago.
What we're getting is an uncaged Brian Cage, and he's really taking it and running with it, and I'm here for it, and we're here for it, and we love seeing it, man. The guy is a stud and a star and a beast, and it's needed and welcomed right now. Absolutely. The post-match we talked about, but since we're on the theme of scumbags, what did you make of this situation?
I like it. Here's, of course, that was my big fear, is once this feud with MJF was over, once they blew the match off, what's going to happen? What's next for Roosh? With Powerhouse Hobbs injured, granted they just got Trent, but I like it. I think this is Roosh with Don Callis' guidance. I mean, just listen to the reaction the crowd gave when dude was when you saw, all we saw was his hand. Oh, I'm talking about something. All we saw was his hand. It was Don Callis for Roosh. I thought that was fantastic. So we're going to see that. But what that's playing up to is Don Callis behind the scenes watching, and everybody being frustrated. They're already setting up for Will Ospreay to leave the Don Callis family. He said,
which kind of was in that promo with Swerve a little bit. Yeah.
Was in the promo with Swerve, was with the whole thing. And he said, I don't need the Don Callis family. So I think what we're going to see the Don Callis family step up. Roosh is going to probably fill that spot. Who knows? But when MJF and Will Ospreay bumped backs and turned around, the crowd's reaction was like this. Look at the bottom picture.
I know.
That is a main event picture right there.
You're right.
Any title, just put that in. Like, is that going to be Wembley? I don't know. I think
was reading some things about that. Like, yeah, I'm curious to where this goes. Like,
yeah,
I was surprised what happened at the Garcia match, all the stuff that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But then quickly you forget about kind of like why is MJF coming out to help Garcia and Daddy Magic? And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden Ospreay, but that didn't really, they quickly kind of swept that under the rug, and looking at that big picture, it doesn't matter. But then you get this, then it's like, okay, they're planting this amazing seed. So is this seed going to be planted farther? And then is this where MJF would return heel or what? You know, MJF heel is so good.
I apologize. I clicked something.
It's
I
okay.
clicked the wrong
You can take that
button.
off.
Oh no.
No, but I mean, if they do go head to head, do you think that would be a situation where MJF would turn heel?
I don't think he needs to. I think MJF has finally established himself in a way that The Rock, Moxley, a lot of these guys have established themselves where they really they can walk that line. They don't have to define themselves. Like MJF doesn't have to define himself anymore as a heel or babyface. He's our scumbag.
True.
And he's going to get that same reaction no matter who he faces. So the only exception is if he wrestled Rio or if he wrestled Willow. You know, that's the only way I could see them booing MJF, because at this point, even if he does something babyface, they're going to cheer. If he does, we. If he does something babyface, we're going to cheer. If he does something heel, we're going to cheer and call him our scumbag. But the Will Ospreay MJF face to face, that's planting that seed, making us want that. That's it's in our heads now. So when they circle back to this later on, it's going to be tremendous.
Yeah, you're right, and I'm not sure where they go with this, and definitely wasn't on our predictions for an all-in match at all.
No.
Maybe it could be one of those join forces as Team AEW eventually, like as you're thinking.
Yep.
Like, remember I threw that kind of wild card in the play.
Yeah.
But last week when I talked about Blood and Guts, about Elite maybe recruiting someone, from the outside in, and then also possibly like Adam Cole. But now I'm thinking it should be Christian Cage because of their alignment there. And then what if Team AEW was an Ospreay, Acclaim, Swerve, MJF? Like, you need top guys. If this is going to be the moment where Elite loses, you need the Ospreys and Swerves. If Elite's going to continue its winning, which I would still like to see because I think it's just going to be cheesy and great, then you need to have different people in the match per se. But I guess you could say like an Acclaim could take a pin from Okada or something like that, and then it would be legit. But
that's
I don't
right,
know where to
bitches.
go. That's right.
Yeah, of course, someone's got to take a pin from Okada.
What was your favorite line of the night? Moment of the night? Was it either the Okada part or was it the Briscoe part?
Okay. Okada, but not by much, because get your ass out of here, Jack Perry. That was tremendous.
Yeah. I tweeted it out for us. I was like, we need to have a Briscoe promo live every single week on Dynamite, because it's so, everyone's here for it. Obviously, Kyle O'Reilly's here for it. Renee is here for it. I'm sure Orange Cassidy and everyone else are really trying to hold back all of their laughs and stuff. But I really, after last week's, I was like, okay, this is bizarre and awesome. And then this week, just, a nice round two. And I want to keep it going.
And like Deb told me, she said last night, she said that this is the version of Kyle O'Reilly she could get behind.
Right.
Because she you know how she is about Bryan Danielson type wrestlers. She's not a fan.
Yeah, very similar.
This fanboy of Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, Deb is 100% behind, and we loved it. Of course, you look at that picture, you look at Dante Martin's reaction. Yeah, everybody else is like all reacting. Dante's like, "What? What the hell?"
Exactly.
But the best part was, "Get your ass out of here, Jack Perry."
Totally.
I think it's going to be eventually. I'd love to see Jack Perry and Mark Briscoe lock it up, and that's just
I don't see why not. They're going to lock it up in the ladder match.
Yeah.
So they'll definitely have face-to-face on that.
That's going to be tremendous.
Let's talk about the tournament bracket,
yes,
which was very welcomed with that it was officially announced. Let's start with the men's. And so the men's brackets, which we already have one match that has been completed, we can talk about afterwards.
Yep.
And then on the west side of the brackets, it was Claudio versus Pac and Danielson. This match will be at Forbidden Door. And so theoretically, Danielson versus Pac is going to be really, really interesting styles clash right there. I can't wait for that. And then on the East brackets, we can call it Phoenix versus White, Jeff Jarrett versus mystery opponent. What are you taking of these brackets?
He's Jeff Jarrett's wrestling vacant. No, first of all, as much as this isn't really a Forbidden Door tournament, even though, because with the exception of Shingo Takagi, it's all AEW folks. So True. I think and I think it's great to see Shingo, and I think Brian is checking off another one of his list of wrestlers he wants to face in AEW. But I think we're going to see Brian Danielson versus Pac, and I'm with Bobby on this one too. Pac is my guy to at least win that side of the bracket. I have a feeling I know where we're going, but it's going to be interesting to see. Now, the variable is who is Mr. Vacant here? Who's the surprise? Is this going to be a surprise debut or a surprise return? Could this be Sammy? Could this be Hanger? Could this be somebody else debuting? It's going to be interesting to see what that, of course, as much as I have come around on Jeff Jarrett, I don't see him advancing. And I don't, as much as I love, and you and I are in the Ray Phoenix, we're in the Lucha Brother fan club members, from the start.
Of course.
But I think that I think Jay White advances. I think our finals is either going to be Pac versus Jay White or Pac versus whoever the mystery is. And Full Tilt Deb is all in on the cowboy shite.
Oh,
she believes it's going to be Hanger. And imagine now, Bobby thinks Scorpion Sky could be the surprise. That would be interesting as well. But I think if we hear the cowboy shit music when Jeff Jarrett comes to the ring, I think we're in for a surprise.
Cowboy versus Cowboy with Jeff Jarrett and Hangman.
Yep.
So then you think Hanger is going to win it all and then have a rematch with Swerve?
I don't know. Because I want Pac. I think Pac deserves, because this isn't just for there is the title shot thing, but this is also the Owen Hart Club tournament. This is the Owen Hart Championship. You look at the last two winners. You had was it Adam Cole won the first one, and was it Sammy that won the second one? Who won the last? Who won last year?
Remind
us in the chat who won last year. I know Willow won last year because that was tremendous. But
Adam Cole and DMD won the first year. Willow won last year, as well as I have to think of it. Anyways,
I think it was
man. I wish Pac and Danielson were
Ricky Starks. It was Ricky Starks.
Well, I mean that could be the wild card too.
Oh, we'd love to see him.
I don't think he would go to the finals, but I wish Pac and Danielson were in the finals because I feel like that's a final style match. You got to be careful with booking this one. I mean, the wild card is always fun because obviously we don't know. Yeah. So I would say wild card versus Jay White, and then Danielson versus Pac, and whoever wins that one should win it all, in my opinion. But it makes sense to have Pac versus Jay White with some of the history there, but also I feel like there's still meat on the bones with Death Triangle. Obviously, Ray Phoenix is going to Jay White and the Bullet Club Gold. And so that could be a pivot where that could be a marquee trios match at All In, which that's what predicted was Death Triangle versus Bullet Club Gold.
Yep.
And then them regaining the trios match. That would be very nice to see. I would love to have Pac get his Wembley moment, but Danielson being the next champ, whoever wins this should be the next champ. I think it's one of those like Royal Rumble things. Like,
yeah, and I think that's why they pulled the trigger on Swerve versus Ospreay early, because I think that's why they pulled the trigger on it early. I still think Swerve's going to come out of Forbidden Door with the belt still. I don't know. Anything could happen. But you're absolutely right. The winner of this tournament should be at least they're going to be on the marquee with the champion.
Right.
I would love for Pac to have that moment, but
true,
it could be Danielson. And, so that could be, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. You're absolutely, like when you said being careful, because you're basically setting up the card, and therefore your marquee main event at All In at Wembley is going to be the champion versus who wins this.
Exactly.
That's what you're going to be selling tickets on. It's got to be a banger. And, as I know in our household, he's not as popular, but globally in the wrestling fandom, Bryan Danielson is a draw.
Agreed.
And if it's him versus Swerve or him versus Ospreay, that's a main event people are going to pay money to see.
Exactly. 100%. You're right on that. And I think that'd be smart booking. And it doesn't have to be a safe one, but it would be an awesome match, period. The qualifying match, the quarterfinal match that got us to that bracket with the first round, Pac versus Claudio, a rematch of when essentially Pac got hurt. I mean, that banger was fantastic, a Ring of Honor match. And
unbelievable.
These guys have some great chemistry. Obviously, we think highly of both of them. Claudio, his stock is soaring right now, in my opinion, over the last 6 to 8 months. He's getting better and better and better in the ring and more fun to watch every single time. A healthy Pac is tough to beat anywhere in the world. I think everything that he does is just A+. And same with Claudio, man. I don't know what's going on. I feel like there's a little teaser of stuff like maybe possibly leaving, I forget what match it was, but he left the ring while Danielson was celebrating one time. And then there's these little things. However, I'm not ready for the Blackpool Combat Club to disintegrate per se, because I think it's giving purpose to a lot of top name guys. So it's not going to be just like kind of random booking. So if you have that Blackpool Combat Club and you're like, okay, just throw Claudio and Mox together, throw Danielson and Claudio together, and vice versa, like kind of play roulette with those top name guys. It's giving them all purpose in one big group. Unlike the 4-on-4 all-star 8-man match, which is kind of just thrown together, like, mix up a handful of dice and pick.
Real quick, just to touch on this, you and I talked about these are two of our favorite guys of all time wrestling each other. Claudio's got an interesting thing going on. I think from a storyline standpoint, they're waiting to pull the trigger on that breakup for when Bryan Danielson goes part-time. I think they're waiting, and it sounds like Danielson wants All In to be like his big finale, whatever, or be part of his last year full time. But you're right, the seed is there, and Claudio has been this just like MVP for these type of matches, and like he's always like the predecessor for whoever takes he's like Vega in Street Fighter before you take on Bison. He's like, Claudio, you got to take Claudio on before you get access, unlock the Bryan Danielson match. And so I think that's kind of been interesting. Deb and I were talking about his super uppercuts, that he did.
Beautiful.
And to go against Pac with that whole, the high flyer like Pac and those moments, and how Pac just eats, he doesn't just sell, he just collapses, and it's such a great thrill to watch. It's time for Pac to get his flowers, but both of them were tremendous, and I agree. I think they're going to pull the trigger on what's going on with Claudio when we get closer to Bryan Danielson's final hurrah.
He's been proven himself to be able to stand alone, and some of the great promos and vignettes that Claudio's been cutting, it's nice to see the spotlight shine on him.
Yeah.
Quite different than what we saw in other companies, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
I don't know who that other guy was, but
this match was so great. And honestly, I was surprised with the outcome, because Pac is one of those guys where he gets so close, and it's almost the Claudio similar story. You're so talented and so close, and you deserve the world, but you just come up short. You just come up short, and this victory over Claudio really has, I think, the IWC buzzing of thinking like, okay, I guess Pac really could win this whole thing.
And that's what it's all about. And I love that expression, by the way. It's like, screw you and your stupid knives, you Swiss man.
Right.
And your chocolate with your miss and their stupid cheese with holes. Good stuff.
But let's talk about the women's side.
Yep.
The women's side of the bracket announced as well. So all 8 contenders were announced. No wild card.
Yep.
Unlike the men's. And the first thing that pops off the page is, first off, no wild card, which would have been fun. Get us thinking, is it a DMD return? Is it a Hater return?
Yep.
So it's official. We're not going to get Hater versus Toni Storm at Wembley. And so one of these 7 remaining women, and no Thunder Rosa versus Toni, even though Toni did beat her at Dynasty. So where do you see this going with this side of the bracket?
As we've said many times in Dynamite Download, heart, brain, gut.
Yeah.
And they're all in conflict. My heart wants to see Willow win this whole thing again, get a second belt. That's my heart. Not going to happen. But my heart wants that. My brain says that it's going to be that Sheeta's going to defeat. Sheeta's going to advance on the right. But the problem is they really want to push Saraya to have her Wembley moment, because I guess last time it wasn't quite there. So I think we're going to see Saraya advance some part, but my gut says Statlander is going to win the whole thing.
Wow.
That's where my gut, and we're going to get Toni Storm versus a heel Statlander at Wembley.
They are really pushing. It's great. They are really pushing for Willow, and I'm here for it. We're here for it. I think it's been a lot of fun. It's one of those gun club stories from crowd to crowned, and Willow is the epitome of that. You go from being an extra to the crowd to being crowned, and now to being featured and potentially, having another title match at the biggest show AEW produces. This would be nice. I think there's really no bad option here. If you're going to get a rematch with Chris and Willow, which is a win, and then anyone else on the East side bracket, whoever wins that is a win too. I think I would have liked to have Mariah versus Saraya in the semifinals instead of first round. That would have been a lot of fun, because I don't think anyone in that top right corner is going to advance to the finals per se. But that's just my bold picking would be Willow versus Chris, Deanna, which would be very convincing that she beats 2 former champs. I don't necessarily see it happening, but it would kind of really solidify her as, that could give her fuel for future stuff. I beat 2 former champs, blah, blah, blah. But Saraya, now that the power numbers are growing with the Outcasts, with Anna Jay joining them up.
Yeah.
Saraya, because then whoever beats Sheeta is beating a former champ. So that's a big notch on their belt, whether it be Saraya, Mariah May, or Deanna. So I think it would be Mariah May versus Statlander in the finals.
The thing is, this is the left side of the bracket. It seems pretty easy. I love Serena Deeb. The Professor's awesome, but the booking is Willow versus Statlander. That's the booking there, and I think it's of the two, it's probably going to be Statlander coming out on the left side. But the right side, there's so many variables. Like we saw last night, Anna Jay joining the Outcast. You got
Right.
Mariah May being pulled between Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. Then you've got Deonna Purrazzo saying that it's done, her feud with Thunder Rosa. But I see Thunder Rosa's not going to let that slide. And, they've only been, I could see Thunder coming back and costing Deonna her spot and, letting and somehow, Shida advancing. I'm still not happy with Snooki winning over Thunder Rosa at Collision because
Agree.
if you had a chance to look, I just want to go back a little bit. I went too far. That spot from Collision, if you look in the upper right with Thunder Rosa getting so much air out into the jumping, like I've never seen any. I'm sure it's been done before. Tell us in the chat if you've seen it before. I have never seen someone use a table as a ramp to run up and then do a double drop kick into the person that tried. I've never seen
good.
It was
highlight
so
moment.
And look at the air that she got. She was like 20 feet in the air. I thought that was tremendous. And so there's so many variables going on with the women's division. So I don't know how this right side of the bracket's going to end up. I think but my gut says it's going to be Statlander versus Shida with Statlander getting the thing. And by the way, I don't know if you saw in the chat, but ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves a super chat party. All right. Boom. Super chat party with the super
kick party.
Absolutely.
Thank you, BR. Appreciate that, buddy. I appreciate the love.
I also see 757 champs in the channel. So let me go ahead, give my buddy a shout out. Thank you for hooking up with the furniture today. Check out 757 champs channel and on YouTube. He does all kinds of reviews. He did this awesome bouncy house setup. He's into he does some reviews on comics, X-Men. The dude's a huge wrestling mark like us. We had a great conversation today about wrestling and marking out with all kinds of stuff. So definitely check out, subscribe to his channel, and we hope to see you around here a lot more there, champs. We'd love to see you. Maybe we could get you in next season's draft too. Maybe you'll
that'd be awesome. The more the
put us
merrier.
to shame.
As we discussed about this, the outcasts essentially growing.
Yes.
I think, as we've discussed over the last few weeks, of a third member, a muscle per se. I think this works. You have an established roster performer in Anna Jay. She has a angry, mean side to her. She'll choke you out, and I think this could work. Would I have liked a more powerhouse per se?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, that would be a lot more fun. Could you have almost like your Wardlow in your group or whatever it may be? But the Anna Jay, I think if it meshes with everyone, the other two's personalities really well, so they can really be that cheesy, cocky, arrogant group all as one, and so all three of them can play that character very well. And I think this will work. I want them to get some matching gear to really establish themselves as a team, as we're going to see them fight in a trios match. Coming up too. So we'll see how it goes.
That's gonna be killer. That was such a great choice. But Bobby brings up an interesting point with the impending Ty Mello returning. Does she join the Outcasts, or is she going to come back as a baby face and find her former tag team partner now with some irreputable peoples, if you will?
She's going to be a baby face questioning her Anna Jay's moves, and Anna Jay's just going to make her pay and just really, get some even more heel heat by beating up her old friend.
The first year mother as well too. Coming back.
Of course, she's going to get a pop because Sammy's going to probably get a pop too.
Yeah.
Yep. And the return of that, all returns are always exciting. So if you want to get some more heat on Anna Jay, that's the way you do it.
Absolutely. Well,
She's gonna be,
Sammy,
why are you doing this? You don't need this. You need me. Join me. Me. And then she's just gonna like be torn, and then just slap her in the face, and then the Outcasts are just gonna spray paint her. Hopefully, they bring that back.
yeah,
too.
the spray paint was. I don't know. They got to get better spray paint or something because they kept spray. It was like wouldn't quite work. It only worked on Rio. Speaking of Sammy, though, and I love to see the sign. I'm starting to see We Miss Sammy signs.
Yes, I've seen that too.
I could let's keep him as a possible person as that mystery person in the tournament against Jeff Jarrett. That we might actually get a pop with we might actually get a pop there if it turns out to be Sammy. I think whoever it's going to be a pop. I don't see it being like, some random independent wrestler that only the us sickos have heard of, or it be now, unless if it's Murder Grandpa, then that. Oh, Deb thinks it's going to be Dustin. All right.
I mean, I thought it would have been cool for him to join. I would have rather. I get the history with Double J joining, but I think it would have been cool for Dustin to be in it.
Yeah.
Even though he lost his opportunity, he can't. He had a fair match. He had opportunity. Oh no, that was for the. Was it for the TNT match or the TNT title match versus Jack Perry?
Yeah, it was for
he didn't have a Owen Hart match qualifying one, but I think Dustin would have been a good member. But the wild card has to be someone very impactful that really should or could win, because how often in the casino matches when the Joker comes out and wins or whatever, like
the Joker
the 30th
is always
person in the Royal Rumble or whatever it may be.
It's got to either be, I think the top three, you let us know in the chat who you think. It's either going to be Hangman, Ricky Starks, or it's going to be Sammy. It's going to be one of those three, or somebody that is debuting for the first time, but I don't know anybody. I mean, Drew McIntyre, I think he's still signed. I think he's still with WWE. I think that whole I quit thing is kayfabe. I don't think he's leaving WWE. So I don't know.
I'm trying to pull up something really quick.
But it looks like Brian.
What if it was this?
Hangman.
What if it was this?
Oh! Wait a second. Hold on. Hold the phone. As much as I love the Redeemer, Drew signed a new deal, but Bobby.
Wow.
Bobby, I like this idea because Ricochet, if you want to just be amazed, go find vintage footage of Ricochet versus Will Ospreay in the Indies.
Would it be too soon though? His contract, all that, or I don't know the details.
I don't know if there's a 30-day, 90-day. I think I don't think he's got a. I think the way it works is if you're let go, you have like a 90-day. But if you let your contract expire, because that's what happened with Adam Cole
and Mox too, I think.
And Mox, they just let their contract expire. They didn't have a 90-day. They could just all of a sudden, as soon as it expired, and they didn't sign a new deal. So can you imagine the pop of Ricochet showing him? Now I don't see him making it to. No. Oh. No, you can't put him at Wembley in the main event. Do you? Put Ricochet versus Ospreay or Swerve? Oh my goodness. I don't know, man. I don't know.
You never know with AEW. That's the thing. It's not easy booking. I think that would be fantastic. I think you could just save that. The more I thought about it, damn. I think Miro would be really sweet to have show up. And I miss Miro personally. I think his gimmick and stuff is really cool, and he's had really badass in the ring. Hopefully he comes back in some element, but I couldn't see. So you could have you go two routes. The wild card just be kind of like a re-debut, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Or you could have the wild card be a re-debut and then win it all in main event. So you have the safe bet, or you have the give the fans something fun bet, or, whatever it is. So I think it'd be better to go the route of at least getting to the finals.
Well, maybe they should be a real wild card, SBD. I mean, you guys, you got to get rock hard if you're going to win the Olin Hart tournament.
That's right.
That's right. You got to get rock hard, like rock hard Juice Robinson. The juice is loose again. And my crazy wife is loose as well. She is going nuts. But even though we're the trios of the Bang Bang Gang, you can't deny having Juice in this tournament would really turn it up to 11.
Yeah, then Juice and Jay White can go head to head and fight for the finals.
Yes, that's how it should be. Well, I'll just wanted to pop in and say hello. Well, I'll let you guys get back to it, but rock hard. Stay rock hard, SPD.
Guns up. Guns up, baby.
Guns up, man. Always good to see Juice pop in. Always good to see him.
We could fantasy book this tournament all night, and what's going to happen for that wild card, because you never know what's going to happen. Tag team title eliminator match, something we talked about recently about how eliminator matches, no one has ever won one until last night, and I was kind of surprised, and I know they did a good job kind of explaining like the eliminator and the future title shot and blah 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 blah. So the Acclaimed winning, I think this buys this feud more time, because if they lost, I felt like it's kind of dead in the water a little bit. Mm-hmm. That way they can milk this a little bit longer, and they have that like, oh, when are we going to use our title shot? When are we going to use our title shot? Almost like the ball in their court now after beating the Young Bucks. Surprised by this for sure. As fans of both teams.
Yep.
Your champs taking an L like this, but they took it to the former champs. So how did you feel about this match, fantasy team aside?
All right. Fantasy team aside, of course, I went in thinking I was taking an L. I didn't expect the Acclaim to win, but I was really hoping. I said, if there was a time for a eliminator match to have a win,
right,
it makes sense, especially because, I mean, this should be a match. I mean, they should get a title shot at it because they are former champs. First of all, we can talk about the interruption, the poor choice in soundboard managers in just a moment.
Oh, that show was great.
But one of the couple things I thought was interesting here, and people have wanted to see it, and I think it's too soon. I don't want it to happen, but there's a lot of people really wanting to see Anthony Bowens do a singles run. He's kind of the Acclaim's Dax in that he's great, with Max Caster, it's the Acclaim scissor me and everything like that. But he is definitely a somebody that could go make a singles run and really make a show of it. He's another one too that really convinced me that his leg was really jacked up. I mean, he did, with the bandage and everything. They did such a great job with that, but I feel like both superstars did fantastic. The Bucks this is the best version of the Bucks. They reinvent themselves all the time, as we've said before. I love this version of the Bucks being the EVPs, but let's talk about it. Their choice. Max Caster gets about one verse in his rap, and suddenly it goes mute. And then you've got Mr. Soundboard Okada. When Okada was coming, a lot of people were hyped up about Okada from a serious standpoint. Like, he's such a great wrestler, such a great guy in New Japan. But this presentation of Okada, in my opinion, this is the best thing going in AEW right now, is the Okada character, because he's just he's so dry with it, and that whole thing where he's like, "I'm so sorry, bitches." That whole thing is so perfect, and it's such a great way to introduce someone like Okada's level. And if you like, you read the Young Bucks book. Yes. I highly recommend you guys check out the Young Bucks book, because it talks a lot about not just how they met Kenny and the whole start of Bullet Club and everything, but it talks about how when they found Okada a long time ago, and they kind of took him under their wing, and then he went back to Japan. They go to Japan, he takes them under their wing in Japan, and then they find they suddenly realize he's like the Japanese Ric Flair. Like they had no idea that he was he was as popular as he was in Japan. And yes, Shut Up Bitch is available at shopaew.com. What a great character. This guy is fantastic. I think it's tremendous. And it adds a great element to this whole thing. But the Acclaim it was a great match. I think the right call was made, and I look forward to the title match that they're going to have coming down the line.
Yeah, and Okada's going to be in the ring fighting this weekend on Collision, which would be great to have him out there. But the comedic stuff that I did not expect from Okada is getting better and better and better every single week.
Yep.
And it's so simple but effective and funny. And they are using him so great in that element. Now, I want him to be used more in the ring. You know, you have this, if you quote unquote, a Ric Flair, a, huge signing. He needs to put in some Ospreay style time in the ring, in my opinion. You have the belt, get him in the ring once every other week at the bare minimum. And he's not wrestling that much. And I think maybe there's something else going on or what, but I think hopefully this is the start of something, because he needs to also have a match at Forbidden Door. I mean, he is the epitome of a Forbidden Door wrestler, coming over from New Japan. So I want to see more and more of this, but his cocky heel effective promos are just, I'm eating them up. I'm here for that.
I love it. He's in good hands with the Bucks there. I think that let us know in the chat who you think you'd like to see Okada feud with next, or go one-on-one with. There's so many opportunities. I do think the rumor is Hanger's going to come back as a heel, but I think that's the wrong move, and I would like to see a Hanger versus Okada feud, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see which way it goes. I could see Ricky Starks. I don't know. There's a lot of things that they could do. I wonder if they were planning an Eddie Kingston feud with him before
I would
Eddie
have
got
liked
hurt.
an Okada versus Danielson feud, and Okada versus let's see, you're talking about the Continental belt.
The Continental
I don't know.
Breakfast belt.
Right. The international, as we've talked about before, the international title and the world title right now are the two top titles in the company.
Yeah.
So this is going to be main eventing Forbidden Door.
Jeez.
It's not title for title, but it's getting personal, bruv. You're making it personal, bruv, on this.
Woo.
So our champ Swerve face to face with the international champion, bruv, Will Ospreay. They didn't even need to do this because the bricks are already laid for the house and at Forbidden Door, and the door is on the hinges, and it's about to be busted open even more after this promo.
They already have my money.
Right.
They already have my
Ospreay's been
money.
all over this map. Ospreay is all over the map on Dynamite. This segment coming out at, for the save, and then the backstage stuff with Brian Cage. So he's got his hands in a lot of cookie jars right now. And he needs to focus on the main prize. He's going to be teaming with Swerve coming up on Dynamite too, versus the Gates of Agony. So that'll be interesting where that'll
go well.
Then you'll have another face-to-face like this. One of the guys taking the pins, and was it Swerve where there was a match where he didn't even get in the match and he took the pin? Like they teamed up. I forget who was in that tag match many months ago, where there was like two foes tagging with each other, and they didn't even the partner didn't even get in, and the one guy just finished the match on his own, essentially, and got the pin.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but you know how I feel about Swerve,
right?
This is how I feel about Swerve. That's and the progress that Swerve has come from when he debuted at AEW. Also, Ospreay with the hit row line was that was like you're the crowd go ooh, top dollar and all that. But what I love about Swerve is this is such a cerebral promo. Like he really they turned it to 11. It was like you said, they already have our money. This is already a top tier. The bricks are laid. Everything's ready but Swerve made it even more like you said, he made it personal, and he really got in. Like he wants, like he's demanding Ospreay take this as serious as he's taking it, because where Ospreay's got his hand in several cookie jars, Swerve is focused on just Ospreay. He got rid of the Gates of Agony. He got rid of Brian Cage. He's just got. I mean, he even said, and it was kind of weird seeing Prince Nana's reaction, because he says, "I don't need anybody, and I don't have any friends." And Nana was like, "What about me? I am a friend. I swerve when I drive." But Swerve has just blossomed into the champion I think we all knew he would be, and this is I don't see him losing the title at Forbidden Door, but this is what we're looking at right now is AEW Stone Cold and Rock right now, in my opinion.
Really, this soon?
I mean, no, this is the feud that's going to continue on.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully for years, that we're going to continue to come back to these two. I don't want it to end.
So I'm just trying to look at a couple things. So he has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 title defenses already. I think MJF, they said he was the longest reigning champ in AEW ever, and I think he had 10 title defenses. So he's gonna this will be his 8th title defense in 2 months. So he's our fighting champ. This is exactly the champion that I would want to lead my company. Someone who is in the trenches, week in and week out, and leading the charge. And Swerve has been every bit of that and then some. Love it, love it, love it.
You throw Ricochet into this group. I mean, I don't know if when Ricochet debuts, he should be in the main title picture, but just putting Ricochet in with these kind of guys, with the Dante Martins and the Ray Phoenix, like those are like, that's the kind of wrestling I really mark out for. The high flyers, the flips and stuff. And I know it's mud show spot monkey, that some people say, but I love it.
I don't know anyone who says that.
What's that?
I said I don't know anyone that says that. I would never say that.
No, nobody says mud show spot monkeys. Nobody on the show right now.
Man, good stuff. All right, we're gonna wrap things up for tonight's episode of 132. I almost said 123. Thank you everyone for joining us. It's gonna be a jam-packed week, man. We got Rampage tomorrow night, Stanley Cup Finals Game 6 for those hockey marks like myself. Collision is back live on, or no, wait, it's not live this weekend. It's actually airing right now. If you're there in Pennsylvania or somewhere, I think Collision's taping right now.
No spoilers.
Saturday. No spoilers. Hashtag no spoilers.
Yeah.
And then, boom, we're back at it with an action-packed Dynamite, which a lot of matches have been announced already. So it is definitely on the road to Forbidden Door. We're going to do a Forbidden Door preview show.
Yep.
We'll talk about that off air when we could think of it, do that. And then we'll obviously release our bingo cards for those bonus points. But join us, folks, next week for episode 133 in the chat. We're going to update our rankings. It's going to be all new ball game. We got
anything
looking
can
at
happen.
the rankings right now. Bobby is on top of the pyramid there.
He's top guy.
Pulling up the caboose with Mind Runner. And the middle is anybody's ball game there. So I think a lot is going to change.
Yep, a lot's going to change. But Bobby, with that, he's got that Daniel Garcia, Kyle O'Reilly combo.
He's got the Daniel. It wouldn't be an episode of AEW without a Garcia Orange Cassidy victory. So that's where you got to start looking. I know. Thank you guys for coming out. We appreciate the support, and we will see you next time.
Later, Raz. Later, everybody.